in Spain in McDonald's and it's heaving. There's a massive, massive queue of Brits trying to get the food. And there's a woman in front of me who wants the Big Mac, but she doesn't want mayonnaise and she doesn't want this and she wants, you know, a cherry on the top and all, you know, all the thing that you don't order, the thing you don't go to McDonald's for, you know, it's kind of like, really, just get what you get and just pull it out.
Really. Yeah. You pick it out afterwards.
And the girl on the other side, obviously she didn't speak a word of Spanish. The girl on the other side was trying her best, bless her, but didn't understand what she was saying. And anyway, eventually got to it. And this girl just turned around and said, "Oh, why didn't they fucking speak English? We come to their country and spend our money." And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, just shut up, Karen. Shut up. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass all of us, because it's embarrassing. And it is a British mentality, to be fair. You know, we are very lucky that we can go abroad and in almost any country and people can understand us.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, you know, you go in a lot of these places, in places like Spain and that, and you know, they're in bars and stuff. These are minimum wage jobs, and they all speak Dutch and German and French and Russian, and amazing. In fact, so much I've started to learn Spanish. I thought,
good for you.
I thought, I don't speak a lot of it, and if someone speaks back to me in Spanish, I'm fucked. You know, I can ask for this, that, and the other, and all the rest of it. But if someone starts to speak back to me, then I am absolutely done for. But I think
you've made an effort.
People appreciate you make the effort, because so many of us don't, and it's embarrassing. Yeah, it is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly so. I mean, I've got loads of stories, but for another day, about bothering to learn French. And the doors that it opened are just unbelievable. Yeah. Absolutely
You're
unbelievable.
Fluent in French now, would you say?
But you know what? I used to be fluent in French, but bear in mind the last time I spoke French was over 10 years ago, really. Donc, je pense j'ai perdu beaucoup de mots maintenant. So I guess I've lost lots of words now. You know,
I've got maintenant, that's now, isn't it? Maintenant.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, so certain words I've still got in there. But I wanted to, my plan was to learn Spanish, then learn French. But, you know, right.
So being British, what do you think then? What's the one thing you would say epitomizes being British?
Eccentricness. I mean, I've dressed for the occasion today. I particularly put the red, white and blue on. And you know, I do like the idea of the British eccentric. I feel I'm a little bit like that myself. But yeah. What do you think?
I think you're right. That is a perfect word to sum it up. Yes, I agree. A good old British eccentric.
Tea time.
Tea time. Okay, now then you see that's changed, hasn't it, through the years? So tea time, tiffin, once upon a time, was spent at around about 11 o'clock in the morning, where you would stop for tea and cakes, of course, and again in the afternoon, I think, which was around about 3 o'clock-ish.
Now, again, I think that is a kind of urban myth.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Well, you have tea break. I mean, you'd have tea break because obviously we drink tea. So we drink something like 11 million cups of tea, or I don't know. Anyway, so when people were working, they would have mid-morning tea break for the working people, you know, the labourers and stuff, and a mid-afternoon tea break. So that's kind of where the phrase tea time comes from. But see, for me, my mother was from Sheffield, so my background is northern. So we would have breakfast, dinner, and tea.
Yeah. Yes.
Whereas if you're southern, you would have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's
so
true.
For me, tea time is my evening meal. So
that's what I was trying to say.
That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, it's even now I'll ring my girls and I'll say, "Are you out for tea?" Because in the evening we have tea. Are you the same? Or you dinner?
We're the same. We're exactly the same. Yeah.
So for me, tea time is the evening meal, and you know, you go out to play after school. Mum will say, "Come back for tea time."
Yes. Yeah. Exactly the same. But what I was trying to say was how it's changed from what tea time was originally, which it still is there for people that go to work. They have a morning break in an afternoon, or maybe not so much these days, but you used to have a tea break, exactly that, to go and take your tea at certain times of the day. But I'm exactly with you. So you have your breakfast, your dinner, and then evening meal is your tea. Yeah, tea time.
But moving on from that very swiftly, carefully, into the actual drinking of tea, as tea is a remedy for all. As in, if you come home and you've had an horrific day, come and have a cup of tea. It'll all be all right. Just come sit and have a cup of tea. If you just murdered somebody in the street, oh, come on, we'll have a cup of tea and it'll all be all right, okay. And it's like a cure.
Have another cup of tea. Now go on. Have another cup of tea.
That's not Irish, that's gypsy.
That's Mrs. Doyle of a 5 of 10.
Yeah. But having a cup of tea is known as a cure-all for everything. I will say I've not had a cup of tea for about 40 years.
What?
I've not drunk tea in 40 years at least.
How can you even call yourself British?
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
Frankly, Jay,
in about the last 40 years, I can tell you, I've had 2 cups of coffee in the last 40 years. I can tell you exactly when they were as well. Probably more than 40 years, actually. Yeah.
I have a very strict regime. I have 2 cups of coffee in the morning. I get up at 5 every morning.
Yeah.
Every morning, doesn't matter. Monday to Sunday, I'm up at 5. I'll have my first cup of coffee at around about 5:15. And then I'll have another one at about 7:30 in the morning. And that's it. If I have another coffee during the day, won't sleep. Really? Guarantee I won't sleep at night at all. Yeah. But from that point on, it's cups of tea. I can't believe you've not had a cup of tea, man.
A cup of tea since I was probably 10. I guess it.
Why?
Don't like it.
What do you drink?
I don't hate it. Just I drink water. I drink Coke. I drink orange juice. I drink milk. I don't like hot drinks. I've not had hot chocolates. I've probably had about 5 of them in the last 4 years. You know.
Do you know what? That's really, really interesting. And I tell you why that's really interesting. Your brother is incredibly picky. Your youngest brother is very, very picky with his foods and drinks as well, isn't he?
Yeah. No, I don't know. We used to have it all the time when I was a kid. You'd have it at tea time, and I just kind of like, oh, I'm drinking this. I'm not really that bothered. And plus, I think because we didn't have a lot of things like we never had a lot of the fizzy drinks and stuff when I was growing up. When I got access to the fizzy drinks, it was just like such a treat to have it. I just have it all the time. So I actually I have too much of it, to be fair. So
did you have a pop man come round? That's a very
British the Alpine man.
Yeah,
the Alpine man would come around with his crates of pop, and you would get orangeade, cherryade, limeade, dandelion and
cream soda.
Dandelion and
cream soda.
Cream soda, yeah, you get them all. What even is dandelion and burdock? What the hell is it?
Well, dandelion is literally a dandelion. You know those.
Burdock's got to be a leaf, hasn't it?
Yeah. So you know when you pick up those little fuzzball things, you go 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That's one of them. And a burdock is another form of a blooming, no idea what it is, but some organic.
Probably healthier for you than Coca-Cola, really.
I'd have thought it is. Well, I bet you it started off as a medicinal thing. I bet you it did.
Oh, Lucozade. I mean, when you were ill as a kid, you were given Lucozade, and it used to come with the orange cellophane on it, didn't it? Do you remember?
Yes, it did.
The thing, the orange cellophane on it, and it was practically a medicine. You only
I forgot that.
I think it's because it was so full of sugar. It was just like, if you were down on the dumps and had no energy, you just give your child all this sugar, and he'd be fucking bouncing off the walls. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the pop man used to be awesome, and you used to get money off your next lot if you saved the empties.
10p. Well, we used to go when we were kids. Again, we'd go around looking for bottles that have been discarded, and you take
we did
get money back and buy yourself some halfpenny sweets. Swearing. Now, we're apparently as British quite well known for doing lots of swearing.
And I will concur with that, quite frankly.
You watch The Boys? There's a TV show
The
on Amazon,
Boys.
The Boys. It's on Amazon at the moment, and Carl Urban, he does one of the best. Normally, when you see again American actors do British accents, they throw in all our slang words like wanker and stuff like that, but they never quite get it right. I always find it really kind of cheesy because they're using all the words, but they're using them all wrong. And there's Carl Urban does Billy Butcher, and he's like a South London kind of accent, and he swears like a trooper. Everyone's a CUNT, and but he's brilliant. He's absolutely spot on with it. He's the best American British accent I think I've ever seen. But swearing a lot.
Not as good as Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, absolutely. He never swore. He never swore. Dick Van Dyke, what a name. Oh, you'll change my name. I'd love to. I'm going to change my name.
Oh, blimey, Mary Poppins.
Dick. So swearing, but I'm a bit old school with swearing. I mean, I swore a bit today, but I don't like to hear women swear.
No.
And I don't like to swear in front of women.
No.
And that's kind of something that I only ever heard my dad swear once. And he got overtook on the inside on the motorway, and someone pulled out in front of him and he went, "You bastard!" And that was the only time I ever heard him swear, and I was so shocked to hear him say that. And I was sat in the back, I must have been about 9 or 10, and I was like, me and Darren are looking at each other. It was kind of like, I was scared because I didn't like to see my dad get angry anyway. You never want to see my dad get angry. And the fact that he swore was shocking. So my girls don't swear in front of me.
No.
Occasionally one will slip out and they're like, "Oh God, sorry, Dad." And in fact, they were around a couple of weeks ago, and my oldest's boyfriend, he's 30, he swore in front of me, and he went, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He went, "I'm so sorry." He was really apologetic.
Oh.
I mean, I don't mind swearing in front of me, but I don't think he should swear.
I hope you kicked him out of the house. No. I hope you publicly humiliated him.
I gave him the Lionel Blair stare.
Oh, that's enough. That would have done it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Have they split up since?
No, they get married next year.
Oh wow!
He's a lovely. I've got 3 doors, and they've all got 3 lovely fellas. So I'm very happy.
Oh, that's really nice.
So yeah, so we swear a lot, and to be honest with you, if I'm with a lot of lads and we start swearing, I probably swear worse than anybody. I spelled out the word CUNT earlier, and I also used the word fanny. Both meaning exactly the same thing. Yet yes. One word, I feel the need to spell it. Yeah, and the other word, I can say it without feeling embarrassed. And
you're only showing off because you can spell it.
That's what it is. They mean exactly the same thing, but one is highly offensive and one isn't. But that's
exactly so.
That's mad.
Yeah, exactly. So how come? How come that is? Who decided? Did once upon a time a group of people sit round a table and go, right, we've got to come up with names for everything. So we'll call that the sky, and we'll call that your head, and we'll call that and that can be a shit. But okay, you can't say that. You can't use that word. You can't actually say it. Well, hang on a minute.
You say poo. That's fine.
Sure, what I mean? Shit. Oh God, that's a really offensive word. Well, hang on, I can say shit. Yeah, that's all right. Well, what's the difference? Shit. Oh, don't say that word. Say poo instead. I would love to know where the actual origins of that becoming really offensive began.
But the other thing about offensive words, I mean, not hearing your parents swear, there were a lot of other swear words that they used that were acceptable, which I can't get my head around. Like
bugger and bloody.
Bloody, but your mother calling you a little bugger.
Yeah.
Knowing what a bugger, being buggered means.
Yeah.
For your mother to call a 6-year-old child you little bugger. I mean, mum, if your mum actually thought about or a sod. Oh, he's a right little sod. And that's okay. And I genuinely don't think my mum ever knew what those words meant. But if I could have turned around to her at 6 and said, "Mum, do you really think it's appropriate to call me a bugger?"
Well, it just exactly exemplifies what I'm trying to say. Who decided
Besides the
what
word.
words were really offensive and which were kind of like, a bit risque, bit on the edge there? Bugger, bloody. Yeah, we'll get away.
Sod. Not asking people to repeat themselves.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes. And also, Jay, on from that, because I had this the other day as well, when you should know someone's name, but you don't. And there comes a point where you're too it's not the right thing to ask anymore.
Well, when someone repeats, it made me think about this. I was watching Wanted the other day. Someone says something to you and you don't understand them. You say, pardon. And then they explain it again and you still don't understand them. You say, pardon. Sorry, I didn't get it. And then they say it again. And if you still don't understand them, you just smile and go, yeah.
And nod.
And nod. You can't ask them again, can you? It's kind of an
no, that's it.
You cannot ask me. I was watching, there was two deaf guys on Wanted. And one of them enunciated his words very well. You could really understand what he said. They were both totally deaf. But the other one, his enunciation was difficult to understand, very difficult. And it was quite sad because they both sort of said that we really struggle with hearing people because they don't understand us and they treat us as stupid. But I actually think a lot of it is the fact that in our culture, asking someone to repeat themselves more than twice is considered bad manners. So if someone was deaf and I couldn't understand them, I'd be really embarrassed to probably ask them to repeat it again. Whereas actually, realistically, you should say, I'm really sorry, I can't understand you. Can you perhaps write it down for me? But I think we have this, this British thing of not wanting to embarrass people or offend them by asking them again, so we don't.
Do you like being British? If you knowing what you know now, and you could be born. It's your choice now. You can be born in any country that you like. So you can be, Italian or whatever. What would you choose to be? Would you choose to be British?
Well, the thing is, I choose my life that I have now. How can I ever choose anything other? So, I mean, I don't watch Love Island. Sarah watches Love Island. But there's a guy in there called Davide, and he's got the most beautiful voice. I have to say, I think he's Italian, and when he speaks, even I kind of take notes because the way he enunciates his words, he's just very, very beautiful. Just to hear him speak English in an Italian accent, it just sounds really, really nice. It's the way he announces things and stuff. It's a nice accent. So, but I think we're all attracted by accents. Again, when I've been to America and stuff, people ask you to repeat what you're saying because I love your accent. They do like the way we speak, but we don't appreciate the fact that we speak differently to other cultures. Carpets in your bathroom.
Only in this country.
Do you have a carpet in your bathroom?
No.
No, I don't either. No. But apparently it's a thing.
But you can buy specific carpet for your bathroom. You can buy it with a rubber backing.
Yeah, I've had it in my bathroom before. But apparently we're the only country in the world that has carpet in the bathroom.
I'm not surprised. It's ridiculous. When you think about it, I used to have it in mine as well. Yeah. And when you think about it, it is the most impractical, ridiculous thing you can. When's it going to dry out? Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely stupid. But yes, you can actually buy bathroom carpet that's got a rubber back on it.
But then you have those little mats as well that like around the toilet and stuff that you can dribble your pee on.
And a matching dolly to hide the toilet roll.
I mean, those mats around the toilet, but the only reason is so you can dribble on them. That's what they're there for, so you can piss all over them.
They're a target. They are a target, actually. Absolutely. Yeah.
You just give it a little spray and go over there.
But if you don't, what's anyone going to moan about? You've got to give people something to moan about.
Driving on the left.
Do you know why we drive on the left?
Well, I do know why we drive on the left. I think I might have told you. I might have told you. Do you know why?
I asked you first. You can't ask a question with a question.
The idea is back in the days of when we had the horse and carriages. So we drove on the left, so that when there was a passing one coming the other way, if they were hostile, you could draw your sword with your right hand and defend your carriage.
it goes back to the jousting.
Oh, okay.
It goes back to the jousting, and when you think they have a lance in their hand, so it's the same scenario, to be fair. So that was it. And then, as I remember, there was a king. I don't remember it that well, clearly, but I'm sure France used to drive on the same side as us, or something like that. And anyway, they had a king with one arm, and they had to do it from the other side. And I'm pretty sure it came from something like that. Why there's the disparity now between who drives on what side and who drives on the other.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, on that, when I bought the old hotel over in France, it had a stone spiral staircase. It was built in the Napoleonics in mid 1700, and the spiral staircase went the wrong way around. So instead of it going that way, it went that way around, and it was because the guy who had it built was left-handed, and he could come down defending. Yeah, it's bonkers, isn't it?
Here's another little rule of Englishness. The waistcoat. As you see, I've got mine on today.
Good lad.
Do you know the correct way to wear a waistcoat is to have the bottom button undone? Did you know that?
This is ironic. I'm 58 years old, and up until last year, I didn't know that. And I like you, I do wear waistcoats quite a lot, certainly for work. And it was somebody told me at a particular conference, and he said because it was Queen Victoria decreed at some point that gentlemen could have it undone.
No, that's not true. The real reason is that King George, I think it was King George, was getting rather stout and portly, and he couldn't do his waistcoat up, so he started to undo the bottom button because that's the only way he could do it up, and so everyone in the court followed suit so as not to embarrass him. And that's why where undoing your bottom button is done. And I've always worn them. I can't remember who told. Somebody told me that you always wear them undone. I think it might be when I had a suit fitting for my sister's wedding. I think that's years ago now. That's what I knew, but I never knew why until I decided to find out why. Because this is me. I like to find out why. The whys and wheres.
Oh, that's so cool.
So there you go. A little bit of useless information for you. Let me go. Talking about the weather.
What else would we talk about? What else other than Yorkshire puddings and fry-ups, other than the weather? It's the number one topic in the country, isn't it?
It's the number one topic for small talk. So if you're stood next to a complete stranger on the bus stop and you decide to start speaking, the first thing you'll probably say is, well, it's a shitty, rainy, horrible, miserable day today, isn't it? Something that we do.
And it's not because of our climate, it's because we go back to being this polite thing. Let's have something to talk about. Feel obliged. Do you feel obliged to talk to people sometimes? Do you not like silence? You know what I mean? If you're in a room.
I find I like people talking to people. I like, especially people that are different from me. You know, I do like talking to people who are from different countries or different religions and different colours and all the rest of it. Because I think you find out so much more about the world when you talk to people that are a lot different to you. But I struggle. I can stand next to somebody in a bus stop, for argument's sake, not that I've used them a long time, want to speak to them and not be able to open my mouth and find the first words to say. I find that really awkward.
What about stood in a public toilet? So you stood in a toilet, or you go in and there's one person there, and you've got to go and stand at the right.
You can't really start chatting blokes up in the toilet. I think it's a bit of a no-no. People have done before, and I'm not offended by it, but I just kind of think it's a bit of a weird one. I tell you.
So you don't say a word then. So you just walk in there and start having a wee and not say anything.
Generally not. You kind of keep your eyes forward and you just kind of do what you need to do.
I'm not saying have a look around. I'm just saying. Don't you find that incredibly uncomfortable? You stood there. And I'm talking about that as well. Talking about that. When the urinal in there to have a freaking big Richard, and you think, why can't you have done that at home? Why? And then he goes, and you just can't wait to get out of there. You just can't wait. At that point, and there's someone at the side of you, You can't not acknowledge this. So all we then all blinkered, pretending that the man who's giving birth to a freaking baby elephant isn't really happening. The bloke at the side of you who's stood there for 10 minutes and can't go for a piss because he's over 60, and you're there doing your thing. And what an embarrassing situation. Surely the best thing to do is to get rid of that hideous atmosphere, is to just say something.
No, because at that point, I'm trying not to breathe. I'm just like, okay, as soon as you hear the plop, it's sharp intake of breath. Don't breathe. I can hold my breath for about 2 minutes, which is about just enough time for me to get in and out and done.
Right, here's another thing then. This has always bothered me. So here we are. So the distance from someone's arsehole to the level of the water, if you're lucky, is probably about 7 inches. If that is probably less. Okay. So from leaving someone's bloody ring to disappearing off under the water, how the fuck can that smell be created from just that tiny, and it's traveling at speed, some faster than the others, but just so a half of a second before it's immersed under the water, and that's going to stop the odours coming up. That's how a trap works on your sink. You have a little U-bend with water in it, the smells won't come back up again.
Yeah.
How could it stink so bad?
Because if somebody's that desperate that they need to go to the toilet in the pub, clearly there's not enough water in the toilet to cover the offending item. Therefore, the stench will permeate the air.
So you're saying it sticks up out the water, like a telegraph pole, like a ship's mast?
Yeah.
I remember that. Do you know what? I remember, this is quite ironic. I remember back in the very early 90s when we used to be at Narborough, and there was only 2 traps for everybody, and one was the ladies and one was the mouse. And I remember in the ladies, it was over Christmas because we named it the Christmas log, and I think we know who did it, but it poked out the water.
I vaguely remember that.
And nobody would go in with a stick and try and get rid of the beast, and it was in there for days.
Banter is kind of like just absolutely ripping the shit out of your friends, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And where does that word come from? Where is that originated from?
It's kind of like we've talked about politeness and not offending people, whereas your closest and dearest you can be as horrible to as you absolutely want to. It's kind of back to front. You know, the bloke you hate, you kind of probably have to be a little bit careful around what you say. The person you absolutely love the most, you'll say, "You're looking a bit fucked today." Like, do you know what I mean? You can say the most horrendous things.
Yes.
You can say the most horrendous things to people who you absolutely supposed to like and love the most, which is mad.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah.
I've got loads still on my list, but we've done nearly an hour of this one, and I think we're going to have to call it a close.
Because I think you're right. We've done over an hour on this.
Time is ticking, and I need to get out of this get-up that I've put on, especially for today, because it's doing me head in.
Are you doing a quick change, Anthony?
I'm going to do a quick change, yes. I am. I'm going to do a quick
that's lovely.
Something more, slip into something more comfortable.
Oh, God help us. We only said that was going to happen when we get 100 subscribers.
Yeah, I'm going back in a basket and suspenders, so yeah. Right, so thank you for watching.
Thank you very much for watching. Yeah,
and I hope you got something insight into being British, and we hope you liked it and you want to subscribe and like the video.
Subscribe and like. Give us a thumbs up.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.